Hello.
Oh, hello.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Sorry about the time difference thing. I totally
Oh,
dropped the
yeah,
ball with
yeah.
that one.
No worries, no
Happy
worries.
you're still available. Yeah, you ready to get started?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, let's have some fun. Everybody, welcome to the Two Degrees podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Today is a special episode on account of two things. One, this is the possibly the last episode. I don't have any more episodes lined up after this, so this is the season finale slash series finale. But as well as the guest that I have today is a very amazing one. All my guests have been amazing, but the reason why this one is special is because she was involved with my latest project. We collabed on Peeled Fruit, the book that a lot of you already have purchased, and hopefully more continue to purchase it. And this coming Christmas season, continue to buy more. But everybody, it's the illustrator of Peeled Fruit, Rhoda Domingo.
Hi, guys.
You are currently in New Zealand, yes?
New Zealand, yep.
Yeah. Oh man. I honestly, I when I messaged you the time of when I tried to organize this, I was like, I double checked, double checked, double checked. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock. But yeah, man, time zones are one
Yeah.
crazy thing that I can't get used to. Oh man. But Rhoda, how's the day? How are you doing?
Um, it's a bit cloudy today. We just got into uh a terrible flooding last night. Uh,
Hmm.
2 days ago, actually.
Yeah.
So it flooded it here in Auckland, but everything's fine now. Yeah.
Oh man, did your house get affected?
Yeah. Not really, but the
Okay.
surrounding areas was a bit affected.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily our house is a bit elevated from the street, but
Yeah.
the streets were flooded. But we're
Like
fine here.
how high did the water get?
Um, it was about just below the knee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that common in New Zealand?
No, everybody was shocked actually because it really happens. I
Yeah.
think um in decades it never happened in Auckland because Auckland is a pretty um good area to live in because it's flat, it's not near any ocean or something. So
Yeah.
everybody was like, whoa.
Wow. Did it
Yeah.
affect like the daily routine for people? Like did work get shut
Yeah,
down?
for some, yeah. But in here in our area it's not that bad. But
Yeah.
for some they needed to evacuate their houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But everything's fine. The government here is very quick to, respond to these kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually happy you brought up the government because I also had a question about that. Um, but I heard your is it do you have a
The
prime minister?
prime minister, yeah,
She's stepping
Jacinda.
down?
Yeah.
Did they
It
give
was a bit
any
sad. It was really
yeah,
sad for us, yeah.
did they give any
Because
reason as
she
to
was really
why?
doing good.
Oh my goodness, she was one of the best world leaders in my opinion.
Yeah. She handled everything very uniquely. I
Yeah,
haven't seen other politicians or leaders did the job she did. Yeah,
yeah.
so
So then, like, who's stepping in, and how do you feel about who's the next candidates?
the next one, he's actually pretty good. He's the one who been side by side with the prime minister during the COVID.
Mhm.
So um he's a very for me, my first impression of him is a very nice guy, non-threatening at all. So let's see. I'm not sure how he'll handle things because he's like for me he's a super kind, nice guy. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure how he'll handle, but
Ooh,
I think he's good enough. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hmm. Nice is contradictory in the politician world.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, Rhoda, it's
Mm.
such a pleasure to have you on here. So I guess let's get to some of the nitty gritty, but I guess before even that, how did you find illustrating for peeled fruit? You could and you
Actually,
could be honest. It's okay.
it was actually fun because that is actually my first official published illustrations for books.
Hmm.
Because before that, my projects used to be patterns for fabric patterns for kids. So a bit similar, but that's the first book that I ever illustrated, and it was
Oh
fun
wow.
because I got really excited about it because it's something that I wanted to do
Okay.
because of the the Filipino theme,
Yeah.
and I love to do books that represent cultures. So yeah, and while I'm doing the illustrations in the book, um it was like I get a bit homesick because
Hmm.
I haven't been in the Philippines for a while, and then um as I imagined the sceneries, I was like, oh, I miss the mangoes, I miss the food, the family and everything like that. So it was an experience.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
with all of the illustrations that you have done though, what were those for? Because then that was like the big thing that drew me to you was the works that you've done. So what were those ones for?
Yeah, those were for children's apparel design,
Okay.
pattern design for children's apparel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fun. Okay. It's 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 funny though, because it's like I think you saw the picture too where I posted the side by side of your concept next to like my family portrait.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that because I I didn't even know what your family looks like, and
Yeah.
you know.
And it was just a perfect match. So it was like it was I was compelled to bring you on board just because like just you illustrating that and it being so similar to what I remember, it just felt like you knew what I was going for and it just worked out.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Eh? We're just before we're just sending emails, and I don't really know what I was trying to understand based on just your emails on what your vision was for the story, and I was surprised that when I sent you the sketches, you were
Mm.
like, "Oh, yeah, everything's approved. Just a little bit, you know, just tiny tweaks." And I was like, "Oh my God, this was so fast."
Yeah. Oh man. So with that, like let's learn more about you.
Okay.
When did you start illustrating? What made you start illustrating?
Um, Actually, uh, I grew up in a family with artistic inclination,
Hmm.
but um, being in a traditional Filipino family, everyone has the skill and the talent, but it is not like how do you call this? It is not encouraged as
Hmm.
a career. Like you can do that for a
Yeah.
hobby or something, but don't really pursue that for a money making thing.
Yeah. What's your
So
opinion on that point of view that a
uh,
lot of Filipinos have had?
you know what? I have two sides on that. Like yeah, probably it's a practicality thing because money in the Philippines is hard, and
Mm.
um I think uh when you're just starting, it's okay to just create and create and not think about the money side of it, because
Yeah.
if you do that, I think you can you can perfect your craft more than starting with the money in your mind.
Yeah.
So for me, what I would advise to my younger self back then, like, just create and do things that you like, but keep a day job first,
Hmm.
you know. So that way you can have money to fund your art.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready enough, and you just market yourself out there, and slowly you can detach yourself from your day job and pursue what you love.
So when you say that you would have given your younger self that advice, what happened? What actually happened with your younger self?
um I took an IT course, but it's also in a design path. I was a graphic designer and a web designer before.
Mhm.
Then illustration just came to me maybe around 7 years, 7 years ago, when I got into this animation project with my friends back in the Philippines. And I was like drawing and drawing, and um, I was like, I felt the happiness I had when I was a kid, just
Mhm.
drawing, making characters. And then that's when I realized, oh, I think I love this better than, making boxes for websites and,
Mhm.
arranging things. So then I started drawing more often, because when I did the graphic design, I left drawing
Mhm.
altogether and just do designs and typography and stuff. And then yeah, just 7 years ago I started drawing and drawing again.
Yeah.
And then but I don't have the thinking of I'll do this full time.
Okay.
It's just like 2 years ago when I was caring with when I was caring for my daughter. She was
Yeah.
around 3 years old back then, and she was having this fondness of reading picture books. And then, like, I was like, oh, I can do this. I can
Hmm.
do illustrations like this. So yeah, that's where it all started.
And you have two kids now?
Two kids now, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that was it was fun knowing that one, because I felt that also lent to your perspective with the drawings that you made for the book, but then two, it was like you're illustrating a kid's book, but at the same time you were pregnant while that was happening.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that was exciting too, knowing that like I don't know, it just felt like there was something extra that other illustrators couldn't provide. Not to say that they weren't, great candidates because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were, but then there was just something about your work, and I'm pretty sure like the pregnancy led to it as well.
Yeah, I think it added up with the inspiration. I was like, I think I was like, imagining the baby,
Mm.
because I had a boy. And
Oh,
then I was like, oh my god, this could be this could be what my baby would look like when he's born. And surprisingly, when I flipped through the book, and I see the image of the baby, it was like, oh, this looks kind of him. So maybe maybe I was imagining what he looks like, and then I don't know, maybe my body just created
yeah.
something similar to the what I imagined.
That's so funny. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you were going through animation. Um, there's so many facets of animation that a lot of people dive into and express themselves through it. And especially now that we're like into the 21st century and things are going three-dimensional and animated, like graphics, what made you stick to 2D illustrations?
Um, I think there's something about flat images that I don't know. Something with flat images that um how do you say that?
Can you articulate it in Tagalog?
Uh no, I have this you know, I have this image in mind, but I can't put it into words. That's how my
Hmm.
mind works, because sometimes I think in pictures
Hmm.
and then I cannot put it into words.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fair. Hmm.
But I think something with with flat illustrations that I can um because with 3D it's like there you can see the layers, like you have characters, you have the background, but in 2D you can like squish
Hmm.
in I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
I'm getting the image though. I'm getting the image that you're
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to.
you can squish and you can I think I can um I can express more story in it and like um hide things.
Hmm.
um what I'm imagining is, do you know Picasso?
Yeah.
Do you
Oh
do you
yeah.
know
No, I have them on
do you
speed
know
dial.
the illustrations of Picasso?
Yeah.
If you make it into 3D, it's not that interesting as compared to a flat image
Hmm.
in which um, he puts like shapes and expressions into
I don't
different
know. I
kinds
don't
of.
know if this makes sense, but I guess the abstractness reflects easier in two dimensions.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So then, that's fascinating then. So is there a way then that those two-dimensional images with an abstract perspective can evolve? Or do you think that's the peak evolution of that type of style?
Sorry.
Do
What
you
what do you mean?
do you think abstract then can enter the realm of three-dimensional and still be as captivating as it would be in two dimensions?
Um. Yeah, I think so, but it could send another message
Hmm.
as to like a flat still image, because like for example in 3D animation it moves. You can tell the story because you can say that this from point A you can tell the story to point B. But in 2D illustrations or a flat image, you have to illustrate it in just a single image, and you have to tell the story in just one image.
Hmm.
You know, like when you're reading a book, it's just one page, but when you read the story, there's so much happening in that scene,
Yeah.
and it's up to the creative to place all the story in that one single image, no moving stuff. Yeah, just one single image, and um it's up to the creative to like connect to the reader and tell them the story without movement,
Yeah.
just still image.
Okay. Yeah. Love it. Now, who then would you attribute or would you give credit to then as your inspiration for your style of drawing?
I have a lot of most of my inspiration were from the artists I follow in Instagram,
Hmm.
because um, that's where I um, connected to other artists and know the the artist we have today. So I could say one is this Italian illustrator whose name is Laura Proietti. She's one of the first um, illustrators that inspired me to do picture books, because she does picture books,
Hmm.
and others are Adam Ming. Adam Ming is one of my um, how do you call this, classmate in one of the illustration book courses I had taken before,
Did
and
you take that in New Zealand or did you take that back in the Philippines?
it was an online course. It was named the course name is Make Art That Sells.
Hmm.
Interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
the main goal of that course is to teach the creatives how to sell their art and themselves, because
So it's more of a
uh,
business course than teaching you how to draw.
it's more of how do you make your art more connected to the people you wanted to connect with,
Hmm.
how they can relate more to your art, because those people will eventually be the one who will be your customers. So how would you connect yourself to them? How would you connect your art to them?
Can you give an example of how your art evolved from before taking that course to after the course?
Yeah, because before I started that course, my I don't have I don't have like um uh a market that I don't have how do you call this? I don't think of people who would I really connect to.
Hmm.
I just draw and draw.
Yeah. Okay.
So after taking that, I realized that I wanted to connect more with kids, and
Hmm.
then so my art evolved there. So
Can you share like that revelation? What was it that made you realize that it was the younger demographic that you wanted to cater to?
yeah, because um I find, because I think my realization back then was when my kids started reading books, becoming interested in picture books, and
Hmm.
the way she her face lights up when I'm reading her the story, and she's like, "Oh, that girl is smiling at this dog," because so I was like, um, I felt so happy that she understood the story, because she saw that girl was smiling at that dog, and she was like, she felt connected to it, and it was like I wanted to connect to this kids and tell them stories,
Hmm.
and um, put smiles in their faces, and um, like make their imagination bloom,
Yeah.
and make them feel they're in the story, experiencing it. You know, so I think that's what ticked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Um, with that, like figuring out your demographic and clientele based off of the images that I came across that drew me to you was you also cater heavily, or your designs and then your images are also towards people of color.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What then, I guess, drew you to focus on that versus just generic styles, generic people?
Yeah, I think the main reason is because I wanted to see um more characters that is in the same color as me, because growing
Mm,
up, the picture books and stories that I have been told, or I have seen, as like more on the Caucasian sides, like Alice in Wonderland, those things. But having, I think, if I was back then, when I was a kid, if I am able to grab books that I can see myself in, that would be awesome, because you know oh, I can see I can see myself experiencing a wonderful story that I am in it you
mm.
know yeah.
Can you recall any stories growing up where you realized maybe later in life or maybe in the moment that there was a disconnect because you didn't connect with the characters?
Yeah, well, the typical Little Red Riding Hood, the Alice in Wonderland,
Hmm.
those kinds of stories, they are all Caucasian, and I was like, yeah, I know, I understand the story, I know the story, but I this is not something that I experience here in my country, or
Hmm.
here where I grew up. So I wanted to I wanted to um show kids like me that there are stories specifically um, made for them, or
Hmm.
they can see themselves in books.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially um, I especially like to draw kids that are brown, because growing up, well, because I grew up in a traditional Filipino family, where being dark or being brown was like something, not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to show brown kids that they are beautiful, you know
Hmm. Yeah.
so yeah.
Now, in your quest for looking for, I guess, clients that you could that related to your drawings, did you find any kind of discrimination or hindrance being,
um so far I haven't experienced those, because I think the picture book communities are becoming more inclusive,
hmm,
with different race, different disabilities. There are more and more books that are being published and made to connect to different kinds of people. So
hmm,
I think that's progress.
yeah.
So yeah.
Do you, I feel like you're in a generation where I think it's still safe to say that you're still one of the few firsts. Um, not few, but you're still in the group that I would consider the firsts, where you guys are making this change by creating these images of brown children. Is there any weight or gravity to it or responsibility that you feel that kind of adds pressure, or is it still just it's all fun?
Um, it's all fun, but I think um, there should be more, more of us.
Mm,
More of us that should push this. Um, what do you call this?
this
This,
agenda.
yeah, yeah. It's not because I think for my opinion, it's not because we just wanted to rise up or something, but just to give confidence and encouragement to the next generation,
Mm,
that we exist, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen similarities and I guess garnered inspiration from the Māori community in New Zealand?
Sorry.
The Māori community in New Zealand, has that
Oh
led
yeah, yeah.
to your designs as well?
Mm. Yeah, I actually, that's one main reason why I considered New Zealand as home, because of the diversity of people here, and
Hmm.
like the Pacific Island people, especially the Maori, they are really, their culture is very rich, and they really promote themselves here,
Yeah.
so you can really feel that. And I was like, um I was like hoping that in the Philippines we could do something similar and something more, because I think when I left the Philippines, I think
When was that?
the when I left, it was around 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, I think with the media in the Philippines, I think it's the culture, our culture in the Philippines are kind of dimming, I can say, because um for example, in the television, it's more of the um
It's
if you're
very
lighter in
pute.
color, you're prettier,
It's very
that,
pute.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's so much whitening products all over,
Yeah.
and yeah, and like um the mga artista, the celebrities, um the more Caucasian you look, the more sikat you get,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, so I think we have to work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I think it's just that there's so many degrees of separation to the indigenous people in the Philippines just because of the amount of colonization that has happened
Yes.
and how many times the history books have gotten rewritten.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you have an opinion on how or when Filipinos are going to start leaning in that direction, or are they still very much in the direction of America is the dream?
Yeah, I think there's a battle within the people in the Philippines, because yeah, because so much of so much influence of the American people to us. But then I think there are there are groups of people who are really working hard on pushing and encouraging more Filipino culture,
Yeah.
and we just have to feed more of them because um, small groups of people can just do something, but if we encourage more people or make or normalize things, we can do more. Like here
Mm.
in New Zealand, they keep pushing, like for example in the primary school, they keep pushing the Tereo, the Maori language,
Yeah.
be incorporated in their way of teaching. So
Love
they
that.
teach every kids the basic Tereo, whether you're a Filipino, an Indian, or whatever. They teach you their culture,
Yeah.
and I'm I feel so
Kia
happy
ora.
because
That's is that
yeah.
like the greeting? Kia ora?
Kiora, yeah,
Yeah.
Kiora. My daughter actually knows more Maori than me.
Hmm.
Yeah. There's one more thing about in the Philippines right now, that the more and more kids are being taught English more than Filipino, more than Tagalog.
Wow.
Yeah. I can see the difference the difference now compared to 10 years ago with how the kids speak nowadays. So it's more
Yeah,
on the
that's true.
yeah.
I also come across this conversation a lot too, where a lot of Filipinos in the Philippines are trying to lose their accent as well.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is crazy.
Yeah.
And just because they'd rather adopt English, and I don't know, it's such a heartbreaking topic because it's like, what's the purpose of wanting to go back to the motherland if it's just like if
If
it's
it's the
just
same.
like
Yeah.
here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man. On the topic of Filipinos and I guess giving back to that community and through inspiration and other methods, there's a organization called FACE, Filipinos Advancing Creative Education. Um,
Oh,
you check them out,
yeah.
faceforward.org. It's FACEFWD.org. And they
FW.
have a couple questions for you.
Oh,
First question is, how do you see the role of children's literature illustrations in shaping the next generation's understanding and appreciation of Filipino culture and identity?
all right. Can you repeat again?
How do you see the role of children's literature illustrations in shaping the next generation's understanding and appreciation of Filipino culture and identity?
Oh, okay. I Well, since my in my experience having a child, everything starts all the learning starts in their first 5 years.
Hmm.
So that is that is the very important years of a child's life, because that is when they are the purest, a clean slate.
Yeah.
That is why I believe that everything you feed in that first 5 years in their life, they will carry it through their whole lives.
Hmm.
You know, so that's why I really, for with my kids, I really encourage them to embrace their culture, their being Filipino. If you ask my daughter um um why she speaks fluently in Tagalog, she'll proudly say to you, because I am a Filipino. You
Hmm.
know, my friends here, um which are, they have bilingual kids because they have Kiwi or um Kiwi partners. So their kids speak more of English and do understand Tagalog.
Mhm.
And they were wondering why my daughter, who was born here and raised here and being surrounded by English speaking kids, speaks Tagalog so fluently that they thought we just arrived here in New Zealand,
Wow.
you know. Yeah,
Oh
so
man. I'm so embarrassed. Um and it's something that I wish I could have a better understanding of, and a do-over is to have let my mom teach me more Tagalog.
oh,
Um
oh, were you born in,
I was
were
born in
you born
Canada,
there? Oh, okay. Yeah.
but then just because of assimilation, and I understand why she didn't force it, because she tried, but then I I was just so adamant on wanting to fit in, and she saw that. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
it breaks my heart whenever I think about having pushed away from that part of my culture so early, just
Hmm.
because the way things were, and being a kid, and just being, in a classroom full of English speaking kids, where it's
Yeah,
like I just
yeah.
want to speak like them because I just want to get
Hmm.
along with them. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Huh.
Yeah, I think my kid um was felt like that before,
Hmm.
especially because during her early years was, it's just us, me, my husband and her. So we proudly speak Tagalog in our house. But the
Hmm.
moment she stepped into the kindergarten, where everyone speaks English, she was like, well, she knows English, but she was like, she felt a bit different
Hmm.
because of the way she speaks, and she somehow she had a bit of a challenge shifting languages because she was so used to using Tagalog at home.
Hmm.
So I think at some point her confidence level was low when she entered the school. But then we just said to her that she'll get used to it, but we just don't want her to lose the Tagalog language. And eventually, um, and also I am so thankful of the schools here in New Zealand because they are so welcoming of different languages. And
Hmm.
she had this teacher who made this like show and tell of encouraging her students to speak their language or share to everybody some words in their language so that
Wow.
everyone would learn. So yeah.
Man, like I'm just going back to like my childhood now, where that definitely would have helped in a way.
Yeah.
But when you saw that her confidence was declining, how then were you able to maintain that Filipino side, and to convince her that it's not a hindrance?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's much more of my husband
Hmm.
because my husband is strict when it comes to speaking Tagalog at home. He was like he because there was a point where my daughter is starting to speak more English to us, and then my husband is like, no, Tagalog tayo dito sa bahay. You speak Tagalog. I can't understand you, parang ganun. And then it was like, at first he was like terrified because, but no, most of my friends speak English, like,
Hmm.
uh, but it's just the two of you that I speak Tagalog,
Oh.
like that, and then but eventually he like, I'm the softer one, and I explained to her that, the reason why Tatay is speaks like that is because he has really strong opinion about keeping our language, because your lola, your lolo can't understand you if we go back home in the Philippines. So um that's the reason why we really wanted you to learn Tagalog. So as she grows older, kids are really like a sponge. You just feed them, and they're they'll eventually get it, and they'll be even proud of what they learned,
Yeah.
because yeah, they in her mindset, when she like when she tells me story about how her classmates are amazed when she shares some of our words with them.
Hmm.
You know, it makes her proud, because she feels like she has something that other kids don't know,
That's
you know.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you taken her back to the Philippines yet?
Not recently
Hmm.
because of COVID and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
One thing that like scarred me for life, that kind of pushed me away from ever trying to speak Tagalog again, was um how old was I? I was 10 years old and went
Oh.
back went back to the Philippines, and like my mom was like, "Oh, speak Tagalog to your cousins." And I was like, "All right." And so I started
You
talking
tried.
Tagalog. And then every time I tried, everybody was just like, ah, nosebleed, nosebleed. And then they just leave the room. And I was like, oh, okay.
I was
Oh, I
trying.
was trying so
Trying my
hard.
best.
Oh man. I'm wondering like the climate of today now, what that would be like for immigrants to go back, because everybody wants to speak English now. I wonder how that would
Yeah.
be received if I'm curious to know. Let me know the first time, please. And this
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
so
I
fascinating.
will update you.
Oh man. Um, Next question from Face organization is, what advice would you give to aspiring Filipino illustrators and artists?
Aspiring Filipino artist. I think artists in general. I think what I would say is just create and create, because it's like speaking a language. You
Hmm.
just have to do it and use it every day, because that's how we learn, just doing and doing. And don't um I remember this I remember reading this book, Steal Like an Artist.
Hmm.
That's a very good book. I could recommend every young artist
Do you
nowadays,
remember
because
the author?
it's Austin Kleon.
Okay.
Yeah. um it's about, because art is not about being original. Not everybody is born an artist,
Hmm.
our ideas are based or came from something, from what we observed, what we saw. It just keeps archiving in our minds, and you just have to put it into paper. So just like learning a new language, you don't know every word in that language at first, right? You just have to expose yourself to those people who speak that language and able to speak it for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how art works too.
Hmm.
So just explore your expose yourself to the art that you wanted to do, maybe copy it exactly as how that artist made it, and then eventually you will have your own voice and you can, you know, you can make things your own, you know. That's why I really love that book, because you know, when you're just a starting artist, you feel like everybody did it already. How
Hmm.
can you be unique? You know, how can you make your own art?
Yeah.
But even those artists long time ago, they copied from, you know, from
Yeah.
some people who inspired them, and they just did something, and they just made their craft their own. They maybe they changed the way they um draw the eyes, or maybe they changed the way they mix colors, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So
that's
then what's your opinion or definition on the word originality?
originality is, you know, how originality is something like how you put your own creativity to um express yourself in your craft. Like for example, you can draw a cat, I can draw a cat. We know what a cat looks like. But how do I draw a cat based on my own interpretation of it? You know?
Hmm.
So that's originality. I know cats have two eyes. Let's say I'll make it have three eyes. It's still a cat, you know?
Hmm.
So I think how you stretch your imagination and how you put it all together, how you put all the observations you had around you and you put it all together in your piece. That's how you make your original work, I think.
You use the word stretch. Do you have any practices that you do like that you're that's part of your schedule to, I guess, maintain that stimulation of your imagination?
Yeah, I do this exercise like where I actually was doing this before our interview.
Hmm.
I just scribble scribble lines without really thinking of anything. So I draw a circle here, a scribble here, and then after scribbling mindlessly, I like observe what I did and like flip my sketchbook, see if there's an image being, you know,
Hmm.
being created there, and from there I just, oh, this circle could be a face, or this circle could be an eye or
Hmm.
something. And from there, you just, it's like just a puzzle. You know,
Yeah.
you connect the dots and see how you go. That's, I think that's a good practice that I
Yeah.
can teach some artists, you
Fair.
know. Yeah.
How long does it take you to go through a sketchbook?
Um Actually I haven't finished a sketchbook because sometimes I go through a sketchbook and then um I find this sketchbook at the store, and I have this habit of feeling the paper. Oh, and it's like, oh, I like this paper. I like this sketchbook. Although I have 10 more sketchbooks at home, I'll buy this and just try this. So I have like several sketchbooks with drawings in them, and I haven't even filled halfway.
That's funny.
You know, yeah.
So then do you prefer then sketching and doodling in a sketchbook or on a tablet?
I I usually do the sketches in paper first
Hmm.
because I'm not sure because my connection with pen and paper is more solid than in drawing on screen. There's something with the texture and the smell of the paper that really adds to
That's fair.
to
Yeah.
the drawing experience. So yeah.
No, I love that. Stick to what do you call it? The organicness of it. I'm into
Yeah, yeah. It's the
it.
feel. It's the overall experience. You know, when you're reading a book
Mhm.
compared to reading an ebook,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Um,
flipping of the page, those experiences you won't get when you go digital.
yeah. No, I totally understand that. I'm an avid what's the word? Um, not influencer. I don't know, but I push people to stick to, what's organic,
Yeah.
where all the books that I have, I'd rather have like something solid and rather than something that's just on my tablet. I have a tablet. I was given a Kindle as well. I don't use
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I think it's the overall experience that,
Mhm.
feeling the I'm more of a experience type of
So
person.
you say you use the sketchbook first and then go to your tablet. Do
Yeah.
you feel something gets lost?
Um, I think it's not it's not lost. It's just like a different experience. Because I think if I did the illustrations using traditional media like colored pencils or watercolor, it would bring me a different experience compared to if I do it digitally. The reason why I prefer digital nowadays because it's more convenient because I don't have to bring all my I don't have to bring all my art supplies where I could work.
Mhm.
I'll just, I just have the iPad and everything I need is in there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just more of the convenience, but it's still different if you do it traditionally.
Mm.
Someday I wanted to because I have a lot of art supplies and I I just do it for sketching, but someday I wanted to publish a book that is made from traditional media. I think it would be a different experience overall.
Yeah. Love it. Um, do you think you would be as invested into your art and into it being a business if you didn't have social media?
I think social media really added a lot to the whole career thing. I think it would be a bit harder, or it would be, I would need a little bit more effort
Mm.
to like um connect to co-illustrators or just people who loves um illustrations. Yeah, I think social media really helped a lot.
Yeah. Do you have any advice on navigating the social media side of this industry?
uh I'm not really good at the I don't, because I don't really educate myself.
Hmm.
I just use social media as how I understood it.
Yeah,
I
fair.
don't really like learn the algorithm or
Yeah.
whatever those things are. Yeah.
Okay. Well, respectfully with that, like it connected us.
Yeah.
So it's like you're using it effectively enough to for people to notice it and refer you, because that's what happened where I had the idea for the book and I was looking for illustrators and I literally put a post. That was it. Do you guys have any Filipino artists that you enjoy? And it was a person from Toronto that referred your
Oh,
page. Yeah.
really?
I was like,
Oh
cool. Yeah. So the fact that, it was somebody from Toronto that was following somebody from New Zealand,
oh
so
wow, I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah. Um, Another question that I wanted to dive into was the business side of things. So how did you go about finding an agent, or how did that opportunity land?
Actually, it's all because of the social media, yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm just like posting and posting. I'm actually not really into the number of followers. I just posted what I do, and
Yeah.
then Advocate Art, which is my current agency, just um, messaged me in Instagram and like, hey, we like your work, and would you be interested in being represented by us? And I was like, sure, why not? I was
Yeah.
like, I'm actually not prepared because I wasn't actively like applying for an agency back then. I was just my plan was to create my portfolio first. I wasn't even ready to post my work, and then it's just my Instagram. That's just my portfolio back then. And then Advocate Art just messaged me, and they were interested in representing. I was like, uh, sure, okay, that's one of my goal this year, but not this quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that came really fast. So
So from when you decided to pursue drawing and illustrating, when did Advocate Art reach out? How the time frame?
it was really quick because when did we start talking?
2000, the end of 2020?
Yeah. So I started the course I was talking about earlier, the Make Art That Sells. I
Mhm.
started that course around
Not 2020,
I
sorry,
think
2021.
around oh yeah, I think I started around February 2020,
Hmm.
and then after that I just posted and posted because I was I was preparing to send my artworks to agencies, but I'm
Okay.
just not prepared yet. But then I think at the fourth quarter of 2020, that's when they came up and asked me about my work, and
Hmm.
it snowballed from there.
How did you ever ask how they came across your work then?
They just said they found me on Instagram. I
Oh
think
wow.
they are really looking for artists in
Yeah.
Instagram, and then they just came in up in my page, and yeah.
Yeah. No, like because like it's I'm on your page right now, and it's so all of these were these then for another project, or was
I
this
know
just
most of those are just sketch or just you know
wow. So
yeah,
this is you just taking your time and
yeah,
then
yeah,
just posting. Hmm.
yeah, because some of my previous projects cannot be posted online. It's just
Hmm.
for clients, so more of a private projects. That's why most of my Instagram posts are just when I have some time between projects, and I doodle and just
Yeah.
get in the zone. Yeah.
So with these, did these start from a sketchbook, or were these just you doodling on a tablet and just going from there?
Most of them started with a sketchbook, and I just take a picture of them with my iPad, and I
Hmm,
just trace it and yeah, go digital from there.
gotcha. Fair. Nice.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations with all that. And I'm
Thank you.
excited to hear about what else and what new opportunities come for you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so when you started illustrating, your daughter was already born.
Yeah. She was
So
3. Yeah.
was illustrating then already a concept that you wanted to explore, or did was that all new after your daughter was born?
Um, I think it was already in mind, but I was not thinking of going towards picture books. I was like just illustrating for like just design,
Hmm.
or posters, because I came from the graphic design industry, so I didn't really picture books wasn't really an idea for me back then. Like yeah, posters, advertising, that's what I usually do before. And just when my daughter became interested in picture books, I was like, oh, this is a very good path to take, because
Hmm.
more and more childrens are fascinated with pictures, and you can you can show them stories or make them experience things through pictures. And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, that's a fascinating idea. I want to do that. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Because then I guess that then ties into the question that I wanted to ask, where it's like, how has parenthood changed you as a person and as an artist?
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a good question. um yeah, I think when it's just me and my husband, um we do things differently. We do things for ourselves, like how to entertain ourselves. I draw because it makes me happy, it. But since having a kid, all the things I do, I think my kids first. Like, how will this benefit them? How will this make them happy?
Hmm.
So I think that's the yeah, that's what I'm talking about earlier. That's the main motivation I had of pursuing picture books, because I thought, um, if if my kids if I can tell stories to my kids through pictures, how awesome would that be if I could tell these stories to all of the kids?
Yeah.
So before, back then, the idea of kids wasn't really a thing for me. And then yeah, my daughter came up, and I actually learned a lot from her than I I teach her.
Hmm.
I think it's the other way around. The parents learn more from their kids than the kids learn from their parents.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
So artistically then, what was then either the latest lesson or the most profound lesson that you learned from not just your daughter, but then now your son as well?
What do you mean?
Like in terms of being an artist, what was a lesson that came from them?
Um, I think what I learned is just because kids are so pure, and
Hmm.
they don't fear anything. They don't make things because people would want their creations, or
Yeah.
they don't do things for other people. That's
Yeah.
what I mean to say. They don't do things for other people. They just do things because that's what makes them happy. And what I learned from that is us adults should, you know, have that mindset,
Hmm.
because if you enjoy what you're doing and you do those things because that makes you happy, it would really reflect on your craft. And other people would be able to love your work because you loved your work first. So, yeah, so that's, I think that's the most valuable lesson I learned from my kids.
Hmm. I love that. And I think that's a beautiful way to end this podcast with that message.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Rhoda, thank you so much for your time, and for the work that you did with Peel Fruit, and for everything that you had to share today, and for everything that you're doing for our culture as well.
Yeah.
So, maraming salamat for all that. That's so fantastic.
Maraming salamat din sa'yo.
Um, but yeah, other than that, everybody please check out Rhoda and everything that she's doing. Follow her on Instagram at CocoVanillaRoad. Um, when I read that the first time too, I was like curious where it's like, is are you doing the play on purpose? The play on road, but spelling it as a street, Road? Is that a
Or,
play?
yeah, it was, it was a handle I have been carrying since I was like college. You know,
Hmm.
when you're younger, you do silly things. It
But
was
was that
actually,
intentional because of your name?
yeah, it was actually from my name, because my name when I was single was Rhoda
Hmm.
Abanilla. Abanilla is my middle name. Abanilla Gabuco. Gabuco is my surname. So, Gabuco, Coco, Abanilla, Vanilla, Rhoda. So I was like thinking of an ice cream flavor or something.
That's clever. I love
So,
it.
it just came up.
Yeah. I love it. And like
Yeah.
I saw that and like it reminds me of like for some reason the Sesame Street sign just because it's like
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, everybody please check her out. Other than that,
Thank
thank you
you.
all for tuning in. 2 Degrees Podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Please check out the Play On Foundation at www.letsplayon.org and figure out how you can become part of this fight for brain aneurysm detection and prevention. But other than that, everybody, I don't know if this is going to be the last time, but if it is, then again, thank you all for tuning into the podcast and being fans of it. But for the last time, in the meantime, mag-ingat kayo.